Hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD or Application and Website Development 1100 C# Programming online course for the summer 2023 semester at Rankin, I've been doing a series of kind of intro videos based on what's in our book, and so far I've gone through the first 7 chapters, which means I'd like to get through as soon as possible 8, 9, 10, and 11 to get done with section 2. Chapter 8 is on how to use arrays and collections. So let's get to it. Arrays and collections are objects that act as containers. All right, in this chapter, you will learn the basic concepts and techniques of working with arrays and collections. So we will talk about first one-dimensional arrays, then rectangular arrays, some extra skills for working with arrays, and finally with collections. Now, I'm going to explain this the same way that I did in the same way that I explained it in the JavaScript class, and that'll be twofold. So first of all, because I'm always just going to remember this, that many years ago, we're talking now probably going on 40 or so years ago, I was a student at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and I was taking a child psychology class. I remember a lot of things about the class, even though it was that many years ago. First thing, it was unbelievably hot. It was a lecture hall with about 300 seats. There was one window in there that couldn't open, so when it got too hot, they would have to open the door. Okay. Second thing I remember about that is one of the first days of class, I fell asleep in class. I had worked till 4 in the morning, and no excuse. It was an 8 o'clock class. I went to class and I fell asleep. And I dropped my pencil and it rolled all the way up or down. I was at an end by the instructor. And he had them wake me up and then he had me come and get it. And he kind of made fun of me a little bit. And I just told him I just kind of had enough. And I said, if it wouldn't be so frickin' hot in here, you wouldn't have to worry about it. And I told him exactly what it was, that I had worked late, etc. And later we talked about it. He was cool. He was actually a very good teacher. The point is this. The first day of class, he was late getting into class. And although this didn't happen, what I'm telling you now didn't happen, imagine it did. Okay? So imagine what happened is that the teaching assistant came in and said, the teacher is going to be late today, but the good news is I've got some Legos for each, I've got a Lego for each one of you to play with. He'll be here within 10 or 15 minutes. So she passes out these Legos. It's something like this. All right, so it's something along these lines where it's just a big bunch of Legos. We each get one. All right. Well, imagine then she leaves and you're sitting there and you may spend a minute or two kind of playing with the Lego, but let's face it, what can you do with a Lego? So you ask the person next to you, hey, can I have your Lego? And then you ask the person next to them, hey, can I have your Lego? And pretty soon you've taken these Legos, all right, that look like this, that really didn't have much rhyme, reason, or anything with them, and you built something with it. All right. Well, each individual Lego is pretty much like the individual pieces of data that we've been working with thus far. Each piece of data holds a single value. Each piece of data is basically known as a scalar, S-C-A-L-A-R value, because it only holds one thing. All right? But once we've took those pieces, those Legos, and put them together, then rather than having a simple or elementary data item or a scalar, we've now got a collection of these scalar items. That's what an array is. It's a collection of like items. Now, unlike JavaScript, you can't mix data types in the same array in C#. So I can have an array of integers, I can have an array of doubles, an array of floats, an array of strings, an array of booleans, but they all have to be of the same type. So that's the first thing. Second thing, with one-dimensional arrays. Again, you've seen me, if you've had classes with me before, give this kind of an example. So imagine that where I live, all right, when I first moved here when I first moved to Missouri from Wisconsin, my wife stayed behind, and she stayed behind because I had a daughter who was going to school. All right. And she wanted to finish up, of course. So for 2 years, I had my own apartment in Lake St. Louis. And I was actually in apartment number 1. So imagine here in apartment 1 is me, Scott, and in apartment 2, we'll say is green, and in apartment 3, brown, and apartment 4 will be white, apartment 5 will be black. I'm not putting colors here. Let's imagine these are last names. All right, apartment 6, gray, apartment 7, Jones, and apartment 8, Kelly. Okay, and again, we're just doing this for the sake here of, call it what you want, imagination or whatever, doesn't matter. All right, so we're imagining we've got some kind of a setup that's sort of like this. All right, so you can see all this stuff. And if we were actually setting this up as an array in C#, we could have said something like this. Let's call it occupants. All right, and each occupant is going to be a string. So I'm going to say string bracket bracket occupants equal, and I'm going to put inside of curly braces here each one of these. So let me grab all these, and I will put them in here, but I'm going to separate them out a little better than they are right now. Okay, now since they're strings, they have to be within double quotes. And I need a delimiter between each one, so we use a comma. And I'm just going to put them over 2 lines. There's no real rhyme or reason for me doing it like this exactly, other than I'm doing it like this. All right. Oops. So what you can see when you look at this is I have an array, and this means it's an array, these brackets. This is the type, this is the name. All right. Now another way I could have done this, okay, I wanted to show you, because so another way I could have done this is I could have said in here string bracket 8 bracket, occupants, just like that. Then I could have filled these up. All right, so I could have said occupants 0 equal Scott, occupants 1 equal Green, occupants 2 equal Brown, occupants 3 equal White, occupants 4 equal Black. And I know you get what's going on here. I understand that. But I want to go through all of it anyway. I'm trying to be complete here. Occupants 5 equal Gray. Occupants 6 equal Jones. And finally, occupants 7 equal Kelly. So I could have done this either one of these two ways. The advantage of doing it this way is, of course, brevity. All right, it's a lot smaller. In fact, if I wanted to, I could have put all this on the same line, but it would have run off the page. Or I could even do something like this, where I moved it maybe over to here, and then I put these on the same line so you can see all of them. So there's a lot of ways this could be done. All right. Now, why am I showing you this way then? Because, after a while, I moved out of the apartment. All right. I bought a house. So let's just assume for a minute that the person who replaced me, their name was King, their last name. All right. So that's how I can change what's in an array. Now, a couple things. Arrays, the first array element is element 0. So even though I said it was an array that had 8 elements in it, they go from 0 to 7. Again, as mentioned previously, each array element must be of the same type. So I couldn't come in there and say occupants 2 equals 27, for example. That wouldn't make any sense. All right. And the way that this is typically read is occupants sub, which is short for subscript, sub 0 equal 1, occupants sub 1 equal, occupants sub 0 equals Scott, occupants sub 1 equal Green, etc. This is called a subscript or an index. And arrays have properties connected to them. You're going to see this in a bit. A length property, and there's other things that you can do with them too. In fact, if I went back out, kind of like we did earlier, and I come out here to learn.microsoft.com, and I search in here for C# array methods, should be in here someplace, array sort method, I wonder if I can put in just system.array here. Probably not, but let's try it anyway. So here's array properties, here's the methods. Never counted them, have no desire to count them. But if you told me there was upwards of 100 methods that you could run on arrays, I would believe you. All right. So what I've shown you have been one-dimensional arrays. Okay. And let's see. I guess that what I showed you there wasn't exactly correct. So let's make sure that I do show you it correctly. Okay, and that'll be this. So instead of doing this, you do string occupants equal new string 8. Oops, 8. I think that's right. Let's double check. String bracket so equals new string and then a number. Yeah. Okay. So sorry about that. Now here's the default. This is kind of neat. If you create an array of numbers and you don't initialize them, they're all automatically initialized to 0. If you have a character array, everything is automatically initialized to what's called the null character. Booleans, each element will be false. Date time will be January 1st of the year 1 at midnight. And if you make an array of objects, they're all null. Okay. Now, if this doesn't make a lot of sense, hopefully it'll make more sense when we write a fairly simple program on this in just a little bit. Again, arrays start with 0. So if I have an array of size 4, the elements are 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. If you specify an index that's less than 0 or greater than the upper bound, you get an index out of range exception thrown. Talked about the different exceptions in the last chapter. We didn't look at that one because we had not yet talked about arrays. All right, so they've got some examples in here on how to work with arrays. Okay. And I think what I'm going to do right now, maybe I'll be sorry I did this, but we're going to try a few things. Okay, so it would have been better probably if rather than doing this, I'm going to make this a little bigger. All right, I would have done a console array, but it's okay. All right, I'm going to introduce something here that you haven't seen before, and that's something called a list box. And what this is going to do is we're going to have 25 numbers inside of here. All right, and that's going to show us the 25 numbers. Okay, and then I'm going to put in a bunch of buttons. There we go. And let me put in, I don't know. There's about 10 of them right there. So we'll try that. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Make them a little closer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That looks pretty good. All right, this is going to be a pretty simple program, even though the interface may not look like it. Okay, and over here, I'm going to copy this and paste it. Okay, and let's see. So we're going to have here this button will allow us to create a new array. All right, whoops, and I somehow spelled that wrong. Okay, this one will give us the array in ascending order. This one will give us the array in descending order. This one will give us the smallest element. This one will give us the largest element. What else do we have? Largest, smallest. How about, so ascending, descending, smallest, largest. We will have the sum. So the sum of all the array elements. We will have the average of all the array elements. We will have, how about putting in the ability to search for something? And then, like we oftentimes have, how about if we have a clear button and an exit button? Okay, let's see now. That looks like it'd be about the right size there, something like that. Okay, so what do we got left? Well, we could make these read a little bigger because it's kind of small right now. So as we've done several times, let's go over here and at least double the size. Let's try 20, see if it'll take that. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Whoops. And let's, well, we're here. Let's lock that. Okay. All right. Now, as always, we got to make names for this. So this will be LST array. This one just will be LST results. I'm just making that up. This will be, well, we already did that, right? BTN new array, BTN ascending, BTN descending. All right, BTN smallest, BTN largest, BTN sum, BTC average, BTC search, BTC clear, and BTC exit. All right, and I'm just going to basically open up each one of these. Now, with what I'm about to show you, of course, it won't be the only way of doing these things. All right, so let's clear. To clear, let's call clear all list boxes. We'll get an error because it hasn't been written yet. All right, so LST array dot items dot clear and LST results dot items dot clear. All right, and then for our exit, we always do, we'll call it exit program or not. seen this before. And inside of here, as I've always done, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to grab this. See what's here. No, we'll go back to that. So we got to say exit button here. And as always, let's grab that code. And that'll be there. All right, so let's do a save all. Before we run it, let's do what we always do, and that is, let's come here first. We've already changed the name. I have not been doing a good job of putting in the text here, so array program. So that's now changed. All right. These things we're going to fill up automatically. So let's do for our accept button. We'll do new array. That's the first one. And for the cancel button, we'll just do clear as we've been doing. Now it's saying F here as the name of my form. I don't know why. I don't know. Not sure why. Okay, but let's come in and do a couple more things. We'll set up the location to be center screen. And we will set the tab order. And it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then tab there and there. All right, view tab order again. Let's run it and make sure it's looking the way it should look. Okay, it's in the middle of the screen. And can I tab my way through the buttons? Okay, looks good. All right, so let's write a program. So when I click new array here, all right, I want to call a routine called create new array, which of course doesn't exist yet. So let's write it. All right, so I'm going to come in here and say int we'll just call it numbers equal new int 25. All right, remember this, rand equal new random. We're going to use that. And I'm going to put in a for loop here. For int LCV equals 0. LCV is less than numbers.length. We'll add 1 to LCV. All right, then we want to create a new random number between 1 and 100. So this will be our current element. Element think we can do this. Maybe we can do it without an element. Let's see. Can we say numbers LCV equal next 101 equals rand dot next 101. Then we want to take that number and put it into the array list. Let's see if that's working. All right, just for the little bit that we've done here. Don't need that. There we go. All right, and again, I don't think we're going to need that, but we'll see real quick. Okay, there's our 25 numbers. Looks like I got to make it a little bit bigger or make this, what's in here, a little bit smaller, which is what I'm going to do. So let's see. I'm going to take this, and right now it is of size 18. I'm going to make it 14. Then run it again and see if all 25 numbers will go into there. There's my 25. Looks like I can make it about 16. So when I click that, there's my 16 numbers. Problem is, if I click it again, it gives me 16 more, but it doesn't get rid of what was there to begin with. See that? And I want that to be gone. So when I do new array, all right, rather than just giving me those new numbers, the first thing I want to do is I want to say LST array items clear. I want to clear out what was in there. So let's run it again and make sure that's happening. Click new array, click it again, and again, and again, and again. Okay? All right, well, that's a start. So I've got the new array. Now I want to put the array in ascending order. Put array in ascending order. Of course, I'm going to get an error sooner or later because that hasn't been written yet. And I should be able to say array.sort numbers. Okay. That will sort them. Let's put them into the, see if we can put them into the other array. Okay, I created numbers in here and I'm using it in there. So let's make this, in fact, let's make both of these. Let's make them global. Okay. All right. So we've done the array.sort in here. Let's see just if we do this, if it's sorting them and putting them back in there or not. So file, save all. There's our 25 numbers. Okay, they're not being sorted in there. That's okay. So array.sort numbers. And I'm going to put in another loop in here. And let's see if that works. But I don't want to put them into my list array. I want to put it into my list results. No idea if that'll work or not, but let's see. There's my numbers. There's my same numbers, but in ascending order. Okay. So I've got numbers, All right, now when I click a new one, I want this to disappear. Okay, so when I create a new array, not only do I want to clear out the one list box, I want to clear out the other list box as well. Okay, let's see if that's working. Okay. All right, so that's okay. Now, there are a couple ways that you can sort, but let me see. I think there's a reverse, but I don't know if it's going to give me what I want. So let's look at what we had in here for these methods and see if there's more than one kind of sort in here. Sort array comparator. Well, I want to look in here and I want to see if there's anything that says descending. It doesn't. All right, I know there's a reverse. Okay, so let's do this. That what we'll do for the descending is we're going to call this put array in descending order. Again, we'll get an error because we haven't written that yet. All right. Now, after we do the array.sort, I'm going to do an array.reverse, which just changes the order. It makes them backwards. Let's see if that works. There's our array. There it is in ascending order. There it is in descending order. All right, again, we have to make sure that we are clearing this. So before we do this, I want to do array, lst results dot items dot clear. I want to do it there, and I also want to do it here. Okay, so let's try that again. File, save all. Okay, there's my array. There it is in ascending order. Whoa, I'm clearing the wrong one. And there it is in descending order. Okay, so LST, that shouldn't be there. That should be results. Let me try it one more time. Save. There's my new array. There it is in ascending order. There it is in descending, ascending, descending. All right. Now, if I put it in ascending order, then the smallest one is element 0. If I put it in descending order, the largest one is element 0. Okay, so let's do that. So for the smallest, I'm going to call find smallest array element. And what I'm showing you here is these are not the only ways of doing this. All right. Private void. So that'll be the smallest. And in here, why don't I call find largest array element. And we'll put that one down here. All right, so what I want to do here is in my find the smallest, I want to call this, I want the array in ascending order. So I'll call this All right. And then I'm going to call this show message, which I haven't written yet, and I'll give it a message, and I'll give it a title. All right. So let's see. I'll give it a message, and I'll give it a title. And actually, I'm doing this wrong, so let me do it right. We'll do that down at the very bottom. All right, so it'll have a string for the message, and it'll have a string for the title. And let's actually put the word message in there. Okay. And this will be a message box dot show. And we will be showing the message and the title. And then afterwards, we'll have a message box button with an OK. And a message box icon, but it won't be question, it'll just be information. All right, so that's good. So we've come into here. And we've got this now. So I want to show message, and I want my message to be the smallest array element value. The value of the smallest array element is, and that'll be number 0. All right, and then the title will be smallest array element. Okay. And then when we do the other one, for finding the largest, we will call put array in descending order, and then the value of the largest is number 0, and this will say largest. Largest. Oh, come on. Array element. Let's see what we've got so far and if it's working. All right. So there's our new array. There it is in ascending order. Okay. There it is in descending order. So 4 should be the smallest. 99 should be the largest. The value of the smallest is 4. The value of the largest is 99. Looking good so far. All right. Then here we'll show find sum of all array elements. Come on, Jeff. And what we'll do here is we'll make a variable called sum. Int sum equals 0. And we'll put in our for loop to loop through the array. We don't care about the order now. We're just adding up all the elements. So there's our for loop. And what we want this to say is sum plus equal numbers LCV. Okay. And then we will call show message again. And we will say the sum of all array elements is sum of all array elements. Okay, let's look at that. If you imagine that each time we run this, we're going to get 25 numbers and the average will be 50. So if the average was 50, 50 times 25 would be 1250. So we get 1198. So that actually looks like it's probably working. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these done, which means we've got 1, 2, 3. Well, we've done these two also. So we've got left the average and then the search. All right. I don't know if we can take things that are in a list box and you can center them or not. I don't really know. Let's look. Doesn't look like it, so I'm not going to. So the average, what we want to do for the average is we first need to have the sum. All right? We first need to have the sum. So we can call this, all right? So I'm going to call now find, instead of find sum of all array elements, I'm going to call find AVG. I'll use that for average. All right, and we'll write that down here. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to call find sum of all array elements, and there's kind of a problem with that. You're going to see it in a minute. Okay, and then I want to say, let's make a variable in here, a double that's called AVG, and we'll set it equal to 0.0. All right, and then we want to say average equal, there's going to be a couple problems with this. Sum divided, no. I'm going to take that sum and I'm going to make that global because I need to use it in two different routines. So I'm going to come down here and put it in right there. All right. And now I can say sum divided by numbers dot length. All right. And I can call my show message again. And I can put in here the average array element size AVG N2. We don't want that there. We want there to be a comma there. And this can say average size array element. Now, like I said, there's a couple problems here. Number one is I'm dividing an int by an int. So it's going to throw away any portion. This should always be 0.00, which I don't want. So I'm going to go and cast this by saying here double. Won't hurt anything. Now, what doesn't it like here? Oh, they need a toString on there. That should fix that. Okay. The other problem is now when I run this, it's first going to show me the sum. I want to call the sum, but I don't always want to show this. All right. So what I'm going to do is when I call this sum, and I call it from here to actually get the sum, I'm going to pass in the number 1. And when I call it over here, when I just want the average, all right, I'm going to pass in the number 0. All right. Now it's going to give me an error, and I'm going to go int which one. Okay. So I'm only going to print this out if which one is equal to 1. Then I'm going to print out this show message. Otherwise, I won't print it out. And I think I did it right, but we'll find out in a moment. So let's see. Save all. Okay, there's my new. You can see them in ascending. There they are. In descending. There they are. So the smallest should be 6. See that it is. The largest should be 100, which you can see that it is. The sum is 1525, it looks like. All right, and if I divide 1525 by, if I divide that by 25, there's my average, which is wrong. It says 122.0. So that's wrong. We'll fix that in a moment. So we've got a fixed average, and then there's just search to go. That isn't too bad. All right. So what's the problem here? Well, when I'm finding my sum, I want to make sure that let's just reset sum equal to 0 before I start anything. Let's see if that fixes it. All right. So file, save all, run. There's my new array, ascending, descending, smallest, largest, sum, average, looks better, 46. So we've got search, clear works, and exit works. Okay, so one thing I want to do when you haven't seen this yet is when the program first runs, I want there to be numbers in there. I'm going to say this again. When the whoops, I don't know what I did there. When the program first runs, I want there to be numbers in here. All right, how do I do that? I'm going to double click on the form, and when the form loads, I'm going to call the, what did we do for a new array? Create new array. So I'm going to call immediately when the form loads, I'm going to call create new array. Now let's see when the program runs if we've got a number in there or numbers in there. And we do. So now I can ascend, I can descend, I can get my smallest, I can get my largest, I can get my sum, I can get my average, I can clear, I can exit. So the only thing that's left is search. Well, let's look through here and see if there is some kind of a search that's in our, that's in here. Set, reverse. Well, let's go back up to the top and then let's search for search. All right. And it's got a bunch of them, so let's look. Binary search. This one looks good. Searches a range of elements in a one-dimensional array for a value. All right. Actually, a bunch of these look good. So let's go in and look, and let's say C# binary search array example. How to use binary search? Well, that looks like it would work. Well, there's an array. Okay, you have to sort it first, so we can call sort. Okay. And then that's what you're looking for. Well, I don't like that example, but the first thing I want to show you, though, is this. Let me look at my time. Oh, it's getting up there. All right. That's okay. Well, I want to finish this one, even if it goes over an hour, and it will. But I'm going to come in here and show you something you've not seen before. And that is, I'm going to come in here. When I run this, when I click the search button, now nothing happens because there's no code in there. But what I want to have happen is I want a little box to come up and say, enter a number to search for. The problem is there's nothing that's built into C# that'll allow you to do that. The good news is there is something that's built into Visual Basic that will allow you to do that. All right, so I'm going to right mouse click on here and I'm going to choose add, but now rather than items, I'm going to say add reference. And that brings up this box here. All right, and I got products, solution, com, whole bunch of stuff in here in a browse, recent. I don't know if it's in com, I don't remember. So I'm going to put in here Visual Basic. Okay, it doesn't find it in there or there. Test project. Okay, and assemblies. So let's look in here for Visual Basic. And there it is. Okay, so I want to add that. I just added a reference. And I want to say, okay, what did that do? Well, I can now come in and I can come in here and do this. I can say using Microsoft dot Visual Basic. Now I'm not using it right now, so it's coming up gray, but I do want to use it. All right, how do I want to use it? Well, I'm going to come in here where we've got this, and there's no code in there right now. There. We're going to call search for array element, which doesn't exist, so we're getting an error. All right, but now I should be able to come in here and say int. How am I going to do this? Not int. We're going to say string L for element equal Microsoft dot Visual Basic dot input. Oh, there's something with an input box. Now, how do I do that? I don't remember. Dot. Maybe if I look through here, I'll remember it. I don't know. Oh, dot Visual Basic dot. I want to do an input box. Add the reference. It's interaction.input box. Okay. Okay, so input box, prompt, title, default. Okay, so let's set these. I'm going to say input box. Okay, we're going to say enter number to search for in array. Okay, so that'll be my prompt. My title will be array search function. Since the numbers go from 0 to 100, I'll just make the default 50. All right, it might have to be in double quotes because what I'm putting in there is the not the number 50, but the string 50. And this I'll have to monkey with This is where you want it placed on the screen. Now it's going to be up here someplace. All right. So L equals that. Let's just see if that works. How about that to start? All right. So now if I click search, I do get this. It's right here. And it says enter number to search for in the array. Well, that's good. But if I put in something that's non-numeric, that's not good. It's not doing anything right now. So okay, and the numbers have to be between 0 and 100. So if the element we put in there is, let's see, I'll try it like this. If the element is less than 0 or the element is greater than 100, I'm just going to call the function again. So search for array element. No idea if this will work. I really and truly don't. So type string. Okay, yeah, why can't it be applied there? Still not going to like this. Yeah, that didn't do anything. I want to use my numeric thing that was in there before. Why don't we bring that in? Remember that from the other program? We used that, was that in here? Let's see. For our miles per gallon, I don't remember. Is present is decimal. Well, we'll change the is decimal to an is int. How's that? So I want to close this, and this, and this. Okay. And let's add this down here. But we're going to change this to is int. And that's the value that we'll put in there. We won't need this name. And if int32.try parse, okay, if it doesn't work, we're going to set redfill to false, and we're going to return redfill. Okay. So we're going to call is int on this. What is that? If the element is not. So if it returned false, we're just going to call it again. So if you put something non-numeric in there, we're just going to call it again. Let's see if that works. So, and again, I have to move this. It's going to be up there, but we'll try moving that in a minute. So I'm going to put in here hello. And all it does is it comes back and asks you to do it again. Good. That's good. Let's move this because I don't like where it is right now. All right, so instead of there, I'm making this up because I don't know where these things are. So I'm going to put it in at 300, 300. So let's see where that puts it. Well, that wasn't bad. So maybe about 500, 600, I don't know. Well, that wasn't too bad. So we want it up and over. Let's try 600, 500. It's getting there. Sooner or later, I'll figure this out. That isn't bad. Okay, so we'll put it right there. All right. So if it doesn't find it, if we put in something that's not a number, that's going to grab that there. So if we get down to here, we put in a number. Okay. So I didn't like the example that was shown there, so I'm going to find another one. Binary search array example. So I got to sort it first. This is the same example I saw before, you idiot. Okay. Search the name of the array and the value you're searching for. Let's see if we can find that. How the heck did they do that? Array.binary search. Of course, it'd be array. Array.binary search. Numbers and element. It's not element. Yeah, it is element I want to look for. If index equal -1, that means it wasn't found. So we can call our show message and have it say the element was not found in the array. All right. And we need to give it a title. So element not found. Otherwise, it was found. I'm going to use the same message, but just modify it. So the element was found in the array at index like that. So element found. No idea if we're done. If it works, well, we're going to try it. So, the first thing we want to do is sort the array too. So I want to come in here and say, what was it? Put array in ascending order, right? Okay. We're going to have a similar problem to what we had before, but you'll see it. Let's run it first so you can see it. All right. So every other thing has been checked already. So let's try our search. All right. So let's look for a number to look for. We'll try 50. And it says fail to compare two elements in the array. Numbers was the array and L was the element. Well, I'm wondering if it's because they're different types. Object must be of type int. That looks like it's the problem. So we're going to call this. So this will be called LSTR. So that's our element string. And we're also going to make an int that's going to be called LInt. Okay. So this is str. Now the problem is when we do this, we'll fix that. But we have to set this. So LInt equals LSTR, but we have to parse that into an integer. So int 32.parse. Now it's not going to like a few things that I just did, so let's see if we can fix those. That should be a big P. I think that should be a big I. There we go. All right. So the element LSTR was not, or STR was. Let's try it now. Well, in fact, before we do this, I said we want the array in ascending order, right? And we're not ever showing that. So put array in ascending order. So that should be coming up to here. Should be clearing it, should be sorting it. It should be putting it in there, but it doesn't appear that it is. So let's look again. Search. We'll try 50. The element 50 was found in the array at index -18. Well, that's kind of weird. Let's see if it was 50 in there. It was not, and it said it was found. The good news is it's doing something, okay? The bad news is it's not doing what we want it to do. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop right here and come back to the program because I'm already well over an hour. See that? So I will come back, finish chapter 7, 8, whatever the heck I'm on, I guess 8, and then we will go from there, we will go on and fix this program.